So we talked about the past couple of days that we're kind of in this weird limbo period for Call of Duty between World War II and the launch of Black Ops 4. So we've been doing some stuff that doesn't necessarily pertain to one or the other, but we did mention that we will have a couple of videos talking about World War II content, and today is one of those scenarios where it's not necessarily dedicated to World War II, but kind of a hybrid. Instead, we're going to be continuing our things to look out for this week series that we've done for a while here on the channel, but instead of just solely focusing on World War II, there are some things that I would like to maybe put in your view for things to look out for that don't necessarily deal with World War II only, but instead also deal with Call of Duty Black Ops 4. So that said, it's going to be a little bit of a combination of World War II stuff and also some things that may or may not happen in the Black Ops 4 scene, and so therefore, today we're going to take a look at 7 things in Call of Duty overall to keep an eye out for this upcoming week. So let's just jump right into it. Tomorrow we're going to actually see the end of Covert Storm coming within World War II already. Seems like it's gone by pretty quick, but the past couple of weeks have been filled with content and a bunch of different things you could work towards. Not necessarily all that many different game modes that were added in. We of course saw that we had hardcore dogfighting added in, I think halfway through the event or so, but other than that, we've had a bunch of things in the collections, and that's really about it. So today is that final day that the event is active for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC users, so if you have to finish any of those collections, best do that tonight here. So that is something that, again, collections will close up, and if you guys don't have either the Proto X1 variants out of collections or the VMG 1927 Isotope variants, well, these actually are the cheapest collections that we've seen for DLC weapons. If I'm not mistaken, any of the DLC weapons that have been in collections beforehand. This is something that it only costs roughly around 40,000 armory credits, if I'm not mistaken once again, if you haven't even chipped away at any of those. So you could have opened up a random supply drop that opened up and unlocked one of those items in that collection, which would then subsequently make it even cheaper. But that said, the VMG 1927 Isotope as well as the Proto X1 antimatter variants are probably some of my favorite variants in all of World War II, let alone just those weapons. So if you want them, of course they will lock up and probably won't be available for another long period of time if you don't take advantage of those now. So if you have any bribes or anything saved up, definitely use those. And that's one thing also that will be going away is the daily order of the complete 35 matches for a Covert Storm bribe. That is going to be going away as of the event finishing up tomorrow as well. So that'll be replaced with whatever ends up being in there for another daily order that are cycle outs. But that's something you won't be able to collect those anymore, but you can of course still use those on hand. And one little tip for you guys, if you end up having some of those stockpiled, is that if you end up having the very cheaper items of those collections still to be unlocked, definitely just buy those with armory credits so you can get those bribes to guarantee you those higher items in terms of armory credit value. That's something that will drastically cut down how much you'll have to spend for those collections if you do want to complete them, but totally optional once again. After that, though, let's talk a little bit about the midweek mobilization, because this one's fairly straightforward and to the point. That is something, it starts on Wednesday, goes until Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's going to be double XP when you party up in the Shadow War mosh pits. To me, if I'm being totally honest with you, I think this is kind of funny, just the timing of how everything works. For those of you guys that know, DLC 4 does finally come out for Xbox One and PC users on Thursday the 27th, so this midweek mobilization leads right into that, but then as of the launch day, there is no real double XP event going on for those to celebrate with Xbox One and PC. So you have that, of course, on PlayStation 4 for Wednesday into Thursday, and then outside of that, we can move over into the Weekend Warfare. That is actually going to be a triple-double, though, celebrating the launch of Shadow War on Xbox One and PC across all platforms. You're gonna have double XP, double weapon XP, and double division XP in that Shadow War mosh pit. So if you end up playing any of the new maps, you'll be able to capitalize on that and rank up if you still have any ranking to do, or if you just really want to grind it out and get closer to that level 1000, you of course have the opportunity to do that as well. That's a great chance, and it's going all weekend, Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And also there is double XP in zombies as well for those guys that maybe don't care all that much about multiplayer at this point. You're trying to grind out some zombies, whatever it is, you still have that opportunity to do so as well. But kind of just celebrating once again the fact that DLC 4 finally launches on Xbox One and PC. Outside of that, one thing also to take a look at is that tomorrow We don't have any information on the new weapon contract as of yet, but there will be a new one. This past week, we ended up seeing the Volksgewehr was a little bit of throwback to that, the first DLC weapon within World War II. We had that on offer this past week, and that's something that, of course, if you don't have the base weapon of that, definitely go for that if you can activate it here in the next 12 hours or so, depending on when you end up seeing this. But again, right now, there is no information as we usually get as to what the next weapon will be. My guess is that we either go into the new weapons from Covert Storm, that being the AS-44, the Proto X1, or the VMG, or we may jump back once again to a little bit of a throwback to the older weapons as well. Following suit with the Volksgewehr, maybe we end up getting the GPMG from the other Winter Siege weapons that were all the way back in December and January. Now, the next thing and the final thing here with World War II before we jump over is that Sledgehammer said in their weekly update that they have something awesome in the works with a sneak peek coming on Friday, probably once again just tying into this week's weekly update from Sledgehammer talking about World War II, but that to me kind of racks my brain, and I am definitely intrigued here by this as to what it could be, because something awesome is probably something bigger than just another event or just another something like a new map given to us or something. This far into the life cycle of World War II, I have absolutely no idea what this could be on a real note. I haven't the slightest idea as to what this might end up being outside of what one thing that I saw maybe could work, which we'll talk about in just a second, but this far into the launch, something awesome being proposed and introduced in the game, that's bold. That is bold, Sledgehammer, and I totally respect that, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what that is. Idea that I have seen circulating around is that maybe this is possibly that weapon crafting system that we found in the game files that we thought was coming with Covert Storm. If you guys remember back with that, that was something we were supposed to kind of take the idea of what armory credits were in Advanced Warfare, where you could scrap things and then buy certain variants or buy supply drops, kind of that same mentality where you could end up in World War II, since you can't scrap anything, using armory credits to buy weapon variants that you wouldn't have just yet. So maybe you want to get that Iron Curtain too. Maybe you don't have the contract and then we won't see the contract come out for another super long time, but if you end up paying 12, 15,000 armory credits, you can just buy it straight up. The interesting part about this entire idea was that this was in the game files as of the Covert Storm update, but we didn't see it. So who knows what this might be, and maybe timing-wise this actually makes sense because we're moving out of the primary year of World War II, so Activision doesn't really care about pushing supply drops as much in World War II as they did in the past 6, 7, 8 months or so. So maybe we do end up seeing that way to organically get variants now that the game is technically, air quote, over out of its first year of primary support. Who knows, maybe it's something that will showcase a new Halloween or other event coming up, but again, doesn't seem big enough with something labeled something awesome from Sledgehammer themselves. So I don't know, we'll of course keep you updated on all of that here as the week progresses and anything we get coming out of this, and of course Friday we'll probably get that little teaser of it, but very interesting and definitely has my full attention here as to what it could be. Now, one final thing that I do want to mention in World War II, and I was actually going to talk about this as an entire point of itself when preliminarily writing this up yesterday, but the community challenge status as of Saturday, we still had 2 tiers to go, but if you log on today, you'll actually get the Waffenschmied 2 for the WAF 28. So we ended up getting 2 tiers in 2 days, and I have a feeling that Sledgehammer kind of gifted these to us. I have no idea, no way to check. Again, my sort of news tab was bugged since Attack of the Undead, and so I haven't seen any of the status updates since then, but 3 tiers in 3 weeks and then 2 in 2 days is kind of suspect, but regardless, thanks, Sledgehammer. You guys can totally go check this out now for yourself, and of course, get that Waffenschmied 2 as the final overall reward now at this point. And the last 2 things that I do want to mention deal a little bit with Black Ops 4, and I should say right up front, these are in no way, shape, or form confirmed, but it wouldn't surprise me if they do happen. Firstly, I wouldn't be surprised if we get some teasers of 2 new maps within Black Ops 4's multiplayer, because we already saw a little bit here earlier in the day with the launch trailer going live. We ended up seeing that we had one that looks like sort of a forest or some sort of jungle with a river underneath it, but also then we see one that is kind of a little bit of a villa or a vista, and we've never seen these before, but they were debuted today in this trailer that went live. Now, this actually is really interesting because we, as of yesterday, had this sort of community, I don't want to say uproar, but community discussion, because some people were okay with it, some people weren't, that we'd only get 11 maps at launch. At the time of a couple of days ago when David Vonderhaar first initially mentioned this and kind of alluded to it, he didn't say flat out outright there only would be. We had the knowledge of the maps Payload, Frequency, Contraband, Arsenal, Seaside, Gridlock, Hacienda, Firing Range, Jungle, Summit, and Slums, combining what we saw already from either the reveal, E3, Gamescom demos, plus also those Back in Black maps that are going to be remastered for Black Ops 4. But today we ended up getting that unnamed forest and unnamed villa to take us from 11 maps to a guaranteed minimum of 13. So of course, that's definitely nice to see more maps here coming to the general flow of the game. We have Nuketown launching in November as well, free to all players, which will be that 14th map, so definitely looking a lot better than 11, which I'm all for. And the final thing that I do want to talk about deals a little bit with Blood of the Dead, the Mob of the Dead remake, or not necessarily remaster, because there's going to be different portions of this playable compared to what we had in Black Ops 2. And of course, with the crew being different from the Alcatraz characters, it's of course going to be its own separate thing. But this was something that leaked out a couple of days ago over on Reddit. I'm not sure if it's still up, and if I'm being totally honest with you, I don't want to ruin the experience, so I haven't even seen it just yet. And if you're like me, I don't want to ruin that experience for you. So I'm sure you can find it out there if you guys search for it, but Blood of the Dead footage actually did leak out, to which I'm expecting maybe some sort of teaser, maybe coming Thursday, maybe this time next week. We don't know exactly when, but we're getting very close to when we start to see some zombies teasers, so it wouldn't surprise me if we get that Blood of the Dead footage that leaked out actually officially revealed. That brings us to the end of this list here. 7 things that across World War II and also maybe Black Ops 4 we can look out for this week. It is of course starting to ramp up to where we're gonna see Black Ops 4 launch in just 2 weeks and a few days in change. Of course, as we start to move forward and get closer to that, we're gonna have a lot more stuff to look out for. So if you guys are interested in any of that, we'll keep you up to date with all things Call of Duty. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What are you looking forward to here out of this week? Are you looking forward to what Sledgehammer's surprise may be coming later in the week regarding the game? What do you think this is? Because again, I have absolutely no idea. Are you hoping we see some more stuff regarding Black Ops 4? Whatever it is, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If it did, make sure you drop a like down below. Also, if you guys are new to the channel, again, if you want to stay up to date with all things Call of Duty, World War II, Black Ops 4, Blackout, all that good stuff, we got you covered here on the channel. So, of course, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. If you guys also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those links are in the description below. Best places to get connected with me a little bit further, so if you want to check those out, feel free to. But all that said and out of the way, thank you guys all so much for watching. Mine is an espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care, and peace.